Hi, best friends. I'm Tabby.
And I'm Caitlin, and today we will be discussing the Ex Hex by Rachel Hawkins.
So, I went into this with not super high expectations, and it proceeded to not even really meet those.
Yeah, agreed.
It wasn't that it was bad. It just wasn't good.
Yeah, it's just strictly okay. And that's fine.
Like it was better than a Wattpad book.
Yeah, I just wanted more, is all.
Yeah.
I will say, before we give our ratings, I'll go ahead and talk about it from the Goodreads perspective, and maybe we should have checked the rating beforehand because I'm looking now. It's a 3.52.
Ooh, that's not very good
It's
on
not very good
Goodreads.
because there's over 160,000
That's
ratings.
arguably not a good read then.
No, it's arguably an okay read. Just to read the back of the book, as per usual. 9 years ago, Vivian Jones nursed her broken heart like any young witch would. Vodka, weepy music, bubble baths, and a curse on the horrible boyfriend. Sure, Vivi knows she shouldn't use her magic this way, but with only an orchard hayride scented candle on hand, she isn't worried it will cause him anything more than a bad hair day or two. That is until Reese Penhollow, descendant of the town's ancestors, breaker of hearts, and annoyingly just as gorgeous as he always was, returns to Graves Glen. What should be a quick trip to recharge the town's ley lines and make an appearance at the annual fall festival turns disastrously wrong. With one calamity after another striking Reese, Vivi realizes her silly little ex-hex may not have been harmless after all. Suddenly, Graves Glen is under attack from murderous wind-up toys, a pissed-off ghost, and a talking cat. The cat didn't attack Graves Glen. Some
So
interesting things to say. Arguably, not very interesting.
he actually said two words.
Vivi and Reese have to ignore their off-the-charts chemistry to work together to save the town and find a way to break the breakup curse before it's too late. They also did not ignore their chemistry. They kind of leaned right into it.
I usually judge a book based off of what percentage of the way through I am, before they bang the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And they barely made it to that halfway mark.
Yeah. And there were a whole lot of close calls leading up to it too.
There was some heavy petting leading up to it.
They truly were little horn dogs for each other.
Yeah. I think I disagree with the back of the book.
I have some beef with the back of the book.
That was actually incredibly misleading.
What would you rate this book?
I gave it a 6.73 out of 10. It wasn't dog water. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever read.
For sure, for sure. No, I have read way worse.
I did get bored 30% of the way through. And here's my thing. If I can skim, which I did read this book, I promise, but if I can skim through a book and know exactly what happened without any details, it's probably not the best book.
Yeah. No, 100%. And at times I would be kind of on autopilot, kind of bored, and I would realize that I was skimming and I would have to go back and be like, did I miss anything?
And it's
the answer was no.
I didn't.
No worries, didn't miss a thing.
It's I could probably pick it up at any point and know generally what's going on.
Yeah, which I mean is kind of just the genre that it is.
It's a rom-com. It's not deep.
Yeah. And I rated it a 7.3 out of 10. I thought it was cute, and I did really enjoy the vibes, the little Halloween town vibes.
Yeah.
But I mean, ultimately, it was just the plot and the characters were just underdeveloped.
Yeah.
And again, that's just kind of the nature of being a rom-com, I feel. But having read now some rom-coms that have a lot more depth and substance to them, it leaves me wanting a lot more whenever I read something like this.
It felt like she was wanting us to invest in what should have been a very detailed relationship when we only got about 50 pages of the way through before they're throwing themselves at each other. And it's that was not enough build up for me to truly be invested in these characters.
Plus, their history was they just had a summer fling a decade ago.
Yeah, 3 months long. And I didn't read the back of the book before I started this. And so when I started it and she was like, and I'm only 19, I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
That's
know.
fine.
I didn't read the back of the book either, but I did kind of get the feeling that it was setting us up to jump forward, so I wasn't too concerned about that.
And
Um,
then like 9 years later, I was like, okay, that makes a little more sense.
but what doesn't make sense is how obsessed they were with each other
Yeah.
9 years later.
I didn't
Um,
like it. Let's talk about the characters.
yes. Speaking of being hung up for some reason, Vivian is hung up on this man.
She's down bad.
They had a 3-month fling 9 years ago, and she still like thinks about him all the goddamn time. And when she finds out that he'll be in town for like 2 days, it shakes
She
her to her core.
spiraled.
Yeah.
So I would say out of all the characters, hers was probably like the most underdeveloped.
Yeah.
So like she's the most boring character I've ever read. Like I was not invested at all. I did not care
Mm-hmm.
a single bit about what happened to Miss Vivian. Okay, so it's like we have all these what are supposed to be like emotional scenes that I'm not interested in because I don't know anything about these characters. And then all of a sudden it's like she's like the descendant of this super all-powerful like witch and
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And it's like, oh, now all of a sudden she's very powerful. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
that doesn't really make any sense now, does it?
I think what's so frustrating about that is that that could have been such an interesting plot point.
Yeah.
And we
And
know
they saved
how
it till like the last 10%.
I know. And that's what's so frustrating because we even have like hints throughout, but it just gives us nothing because we know that Vivian she's a witch, but she didn't grow up as a witch because her mom was like, for some reason, was like opposed to magic. But we never dive into that. We never like find out what her mom's motives are. We never
Yeah.
understand like the reasons or how that affects her, and she doesn't really care to dive into it. And I'm like, that's interesting because if I found out I was a witch, I would be kind of interested in that.
Well, and does she ever say what happens to her parents? I can't remember because it's like, and I miss them every day after the tragic accident, like after whatever. She's like, anyway, like back to my life. I'm like,
I
wait, what happened to your parents?
Yeah, I actually don't remember, but that just goes to show that like whatever it said about her parents, it was not memorable, and it had
I'm
no effect on her character development whatsoever.
like, I don't know if they died or if they're still alive in Georgia or whatever, but like, I know, did she just go there for college? I'm still
uh,
confused about why she even ended up there.
I kind of feel like her parents are dead and she just kind of lives there now with her aunt and cousin. Just goes to show that it's really not very interesting. We don't care about her. And then at the end, she like is able to break the curse and all of a sudden she like embraces being a witch. And I'm like, okay.
Sure, Jan.
I don't know. It was a whole lot of like, yes, girl, give us nothing.
Like, slay, queen.
That being said, for as like bland and uninteresting as Vivian is, Reese thinks she is the most intriguing, ethereal, beautiful
But that's how
person
it
in the world.
fucking goes. And every single one of these goddamn books, it's always like the most blandest stick in the mud bitch. And then like you've got this dude who's like, that is single-handedly the most gorgeous woman I've ever seen. She
I just
literally
have to
shits
have her.
rainbows and
You
like
know
there
what?
is no
Like
one else.
she must be like really hot. Really.
She's got that gorilla grip, like super coochie, and there's no other explanation for it.
It was love at first fuck. And he's down bad for life.
He's down bad. Reese, I think like could have been a really, really good main male character, and he was really funny at times. Like I did like his inner monologue for
Mm-hmm.
the most part. He was a little cringy at times,
Yeah,
but I think that's any rom-com dude for some reason. But
true.
like the catchphrases that he would say, like, holy, what is it? B-U-G-I? What is that?
I don't know.
Boogie? Bugie? I'm
I just
assuming maybe it's
assumed it
like
was
a
a
saint.
Welsh word of some sort, but I don't know any Welsh words.
Yeah, and like that was the other thing is I don't know what a Welsh man sounds like. And it's like I was over here on Google, like typing in like just Welshman talking, so I could get just a general frame of reference for what this dude's supposed to sound like in my head. And
Yeah.
I still don't know.
No, same. And I guess it's just because we're not familiar with the accent at all. But I'm sure like the things that she was writing, like his dialect, I'm sure makes sense for a Welsh character, but I just don't have any background to understand it.
I'm also assuming that this author is American. And so I feel like sometimes like they take real liberties with what they think like phrases in Europe should sound like. And I'm like, I
Oh.
don't know if they actually
So
talk
maybe
like
it's
that.
actually the worst and it's a horrible
I'm like,
representation.
it seems pretty cheesy, but I also don't live there, so I don't know.
Yeah, you're probably right. She probably is American. So, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe she spent time in Wales.
Maybe. So did
Um,
my family, and I still don't know what they sound like. My
well,
family's from there.
I think like he's fine. Like you said, like he was funny at times. There were times that I actually like did giggle out loud during this
Yeah.
book, and it was usually because of Reese. Like at the end, whenever Vivian's like possessed by her ancestor, whatever, and she's like, "You look just like him," and he's like, "Oh," like offended that
He's
his
like,
nose
damn it, it's
looks
the
like his
nose, isn't
granddad.
it?
I thought that was hilarious. Um, but what makes him like kind of cringy to me, like besides the fact that he's obsessed with this girl for no reason, is his like he's like, yeah, I'm a successful businessman. I made my own business, and we don't know anything about that. And he just like is always on the phone about it. And then apparently he can
He's
just move
like,
to another country and still run his business.
have you seen those TikToks I've sent you? It's like this dude who's like explaining what he does without really explaining what he does.
Yes,
And
like the
like,
marketing. Yeah.
yes. And like, I can imagine that's probably along the lines of like his role.
Yeah, I genuinely don't get it, but I was like, I guess I love that for you, King.
I
Work
did
smarter,
laugh
not harder.
every single time. He was like, I didn't necessarily like scream, but I was not proud of like the noise that came out of me. And I was like,
That
I feel that.
happened to him a lot.
He's a little spooked. He also was just kind of a dick though, like to his family in general.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
what a strange dynamic they have.
I think all of the Penhallow men are just like emotionally stunted for
Like a
sure.
little damaged, perhaps.
Yeah, but don't worry, for some reason he's able to just fall in love immediately, even though he has this really weird emotional dynamic with his family.
Like, happy for him though. I hope they do well together,
Yeah.
truly. So then we have Gwen, and Gwen is actually going to be the main character of the second book, The Kiss Curse, which we'll be reading next. I don't know if I'm excited for that or not.
Yeah, can you tell how excited we are at this point?
I wasn't like in love with her character. I think like there were some funny aspects about her,
Yes.
but
I think the way she was written, at times she felt over exaggerated, and like the author was just trying to have this cool, quirky character in her book and be so hip and cool because
she's like
she's
slay girl boss pussy power.
that's 100% what was going on. And I was like, ick. No, like I want Gwen to be able to be herself and everything, but like I don't
It's like
think a real person would act like that though.
she's like every time like Jane, like the mayor came in, she's like, oh yeah, we like fucked. And it's like, oh, okay. I think she's the type of person who is like just chronically single and she doesn't want to admit that she maybe has deeper feelings because it would make her seem weak. That's kind of the vibe I was getting. And she was
That's
like,
fair.
yeah, I bagged that bad bitch. She's like, but it's not serious, haha.
Yeah, that's fair because like we never really get inside her head. So maybe
No.
that's more what was going on.
I mean, she was funny at times though. Like I didn't think she was a
Yes.
bad character.
No, I really did like her like personality in general. I just thought it was a little over the top
Yeah,
sometimes.
no, for
But
sure.
she's also like a really, really good friend and family member to Vivian.
Yeah, like who else would like attempt to curse somebody at age 19, like
Yeah,
over a 3-month fling?
I know. She's so real for
She's
that.
a true bestie.
She's so supportive.
I think
Um,
Elaine was probably the best character though in this whole book.
I loved her. I think her character just evokes like, I mean, they even said Gwen describes her as like Stevie Nicks. Like she's just
Yeah.
cool, witchy.
Like
I don't
she's
even
metal
know.
as fuck.
Yeah. She can like solve any problem immediately.
Yeah.
She knows how to be a witch.
She's like, I'm very disappointed in you guys, but don't worry, I will fix this.
I will fix it and don't let it happen again. Okay.
Okay.
XOXO.
And like, I love that she also secretly just loves Reese as well. And she's like, I've never begged for these bitches, but let me make you some sticky buns.
Yeah, I thought their little relationship was cute. And that I feel like that helped us see a little bit more of like Reese's personality, that he was kind of like so warm and able to
Yeah.
immediately like hit it off with Elaine. Because again, like we didn't really get much of a chance to get to know his character inside of the like Vivian Reese romance. So it was
No.
nice to see his interactions with other
It's like
characters.
you are a normal person. That's great.
Yeah, you're not just like
Uh
this weirdo who's obsessed with someone from 9 years ago. Well, you are, but you are other things
yeah.
too. Well,
And
couldn't tell you a thing, really.
he seemed like your typical oldest brother, like just trying to keep the family together, but also like if you disappear the next day, like he may be sad for a little bit, but ultimately would be like, well, that's just the way things are.
Yeah, like he would be at your funeral, but then he wouldn't like talk about it or
Like
anything.
his main purpose in life is just to please his parents.
Which maybe we'll get more information about like what again, I think all of the Penhallow men are just emotionally stunted. I get that.
Yeah. Because yeah, like Bowen literally like disappeared to a mountain and no one knows what he's actually doing. And I was
Yeah,
like, that's like not normal people behavior to do that. And
not at
like
all.
would love to know what he's doing up there, but
And the thing is, like, I don't want to get my hopes up too much because, like, I would hope that in book two, we'll get to know, like, what makes Wells tick. But I still don't feel like I know anything about Reese. And we just read a whole book about him.
is Wells in the second book?
Yeah, it's Gwen and Wells.
Oh, well, that's dumb. How come they got my hopes up about Jane and like,
I don't know. I don't want to. I'm just going to get on my soapbox for a little second. And I don't want to say that that is what this author is doing, but it feels just a little bit queer baity.
yeah, that is.
um and I'm not saying, because totally people are attracted to whoever, and it seems that then Gwen's sexuality would be like either bisexual or pansexual, something along
Yeah.
those lines. So totally valid for her to, be attracted to a woman and also a man. I'm not saying that's not
Yeah,
okay.
because it did say she was briefly engaged to a man too,
Yeah. So
who was
but
like
I
a
just think
circus
it's like
performer.
kind of lame. I don't know. Like
Didn't sit right with me.
yeah, because I'm just worried about the motivations mostly, because Gwen's like character did also feel
Like a
not
token
super
queer
developed.
person,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. And so I hope that book two gives us more. If we get to know more about Gwen as a person, then it won't feel like she's a token.
So are they going for like a grumpy sunshine vibe? Like this was obviously like a second chance romance, which I already don't enjoy those, like in
Yes.
general.
I don't know. I haven't read the back of the book, the
Like a
second
real
one.
opposites attract type thing, clearly.
How are they even going to cross paths?
I mean, unless Wells is like supposed to like come in and check on Reese, maybe.
Yeah, I guess.
Or, well, at the end of the book, it literally said that Simon probably wasn't going to take it well that the Jones family is now like in charge of the ley line. So maybe he sends Wells in like on his behalf to like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I basically just wrote the second book, so you're welcome.
You can tell me more about their characters then. That's enough about Wells, considering he's in this book for 2 pages.
There's a lot of speculation surrounding Wells and Bowen.
And
We're not even going to talk about Bowen because fuck that guy. He lives in the mountains.
yeah, I don't even know what else we could say about Bowen. I think we've said it all.
Simon, I don't even want to say anything about Simon. He
He's,
sucks.
yeah, he's lame.
He's a bad dad.
Yeah, he sucks. I do
And like
feel
not in
like
a good way.
he is like he has the potential, to like turn his life around, but he would need to be visited by 3 Christmas ghosts and be scared out of his fucking
He needs
wits,
to
you
be
know?
scared straight.
He is truly an Ebenezer Scrooge.
Well, and it's
Um,
like any father that tells their child it's their fault for like their mom dying in childbirth is probably not allowed to be a father.
they certainly need therapy and to apologize for that behavior. Yeah, fuck Simon. Maybe
All
he'll
right,
get
so
better.
maybe Simon's gonna get his own character development.
Yeah, maybe. Truly.
Slay. Okay. Well, that's enough of those guys. There's not a lot to say.
Hate most of them, but I feel like we said more than we
That's
even really
exactly.
should.
Do you like that I talked more about the character that wasn't really in this book than any of the other characters?
Because we were like, we can make it up at least with this one. I mean, I don't know if Vivi and Reese are going to be mentioned a whole lot in the other books, but I'm just kind of like, okay, guys, like, see you never. I know nothing about you.
You know what? I bet is he's going to be in town because they're going to get married and they're going to meet at
Ooh, a little wedding.
their wedding. They're going to have some clandestine meeting and they're going to like not hit it off and they're going to be like enemies to lovers type thing.
Okay, and just be kind of like forced proximity somehow.
Yeah,
maybe.
that's my prediction.
Yeah, I would like that. I would like that plot a lot better than this first one, probably.
Yeah, into it. Let's hope that happens. Stay tuned.
Some thoughts and concerns. I mean, I already said, again, like the characters, they feel kind of blah. I didn't care about the ending, to be honest. And I really don't understand them being in love. I definitely understand that they are physically attracted to each other.
Sure.
I don't understand anything else outside of that.
3 months together with a 9-year separation seems like a long time. Like you are both like fully functioning adults at that point. Like like there's no way everything is just the same.
It's really weird to me. I don't understand it. But that's okay. I hated that scene when they were in the haunted house and they were feeling each other up in the closet. Well, 2 students were outside of the closet and like didn't know they were in there. Like that is creepy.
Well, and first of all, just her hatred for this particular student, like who's probably like what, an 18, 19-year-old child, because he's literally a freshman in college.
Yeah.
And so first of all, they're like, wow, okay, they're probably gonna bang out there like, should we? And it's like, that seems a little predatory. I don't know. Like that seems not right.
Yeah. And also, I mean,
like,
I'm glad that
very much immediately jail.
I'm glad the students didn't actually try to bang.
So
but like, were they gonna just be quiet?
So what I thought was going to happen was that this Hainsley dude, because like why else would they bring him back in here other than for him to sacrifice this girl inside of the haunted house? Like why else would they be there? Like I most certainly, if someone was like, hey baby girl, I want to take you on a hot date tonight and we show up to an abandoned haunted house and like come on in here, I've got something super special.
No.
And it's like, no, it's actually just a dirty ass like floor. Like, no, I'm getting like murdered.
Yeah. You're
like
so
I
right.
thought he was going to be murdering this girl and they were going to be hearing that from the other door and be like, oh shit, it was Hainsley all along.
Oh but God.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah, that could have been really interesting.
So that was like really disappointing.
Instead, that like the students being there literally served no purpose. Like no purpose. Because okay, let's say like the students weren't there at all. They still could have had their little moment and like gotten turned on for a second and like
it
made
turned
out.
You on because you had to be quiet in front of your students in a closet. Like that's fucked up.
Yeah, it honestly makes things like so much worse. Like the students were there for no reason. I hate that we wrote that in.
Scene? It's like you had 300 pages to make something happen and you purposely chose to like keep that in there. The only redeeming quality I think of this book was actually the talking cat who would just scream treats. I love that.
And
I think that was top tier writing.
That is so valid. Like if my dogs could talk, they absolutely would just be yelling for treats.
That was peak comedy. I just was tickled.
I've never
tickled to death.
Never read anything funnier
by this talking cat that demanded treats.
No, I love that too. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Okay. One other thing that I really just cannot stand in a rom-com book, it takes me so far out of the moment, is when authors like start to add in like pop culture references. So like the candle that they were using was a Bath and Body Works candle. And it's like name dropping. Okay. And then it's like they would mention like specific brands by name. I'm like, are you getting paid for this?
That is
Like, are
so
you getting
fair.
paid to mention these brands in your book? Because like you could have made up any name you wanted to because it's a book.
Yeah. They also like straight up mentioned like Harry Potter being
Like
canonically
muggles.
existing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I got confused by that because I was like, are you saying the word muggles because Harry Potter became like a famous like book series in your world? Or are you saying that like Harry Potter was a real person in
Like
this
Hogwarts
universe?
is a real ass thing in your book because I don't think J.K. Rowling would like that very much.
That's what I truly couldn't understand is like, do you just exist in a world where the Harry Potter novels exist? Or
Because I know
is
for
this
a fact
an
she's a
extension of the
greedy
Hogwarts universe?
bastard and she's going to sue you for every penny you're worth.
Yeah. And fuck her, but also explain yourself.
Yeah, no, like stuff like that, like just really just snaps me right out of the moment.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Like anytime like people mention like social media,
Mm-hmm.
anything like that, like I hate it. I'm reading this book to not be in this life. I
I
want to be in
know.
your life.
Well, that's what makes me so mad whenever books like literally mention the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm like, ew.
I'm reading this so I can pretend that didn't exist.
Yeah, like how dare you burst my fucking bubble like that?
And then not only was like this book just incredibly underdeveloped, but she didn't even give us like good, like spicy scenes.
Mm-mm. They were trash.
Like it was borderline just like a behind closed doors type shit or like a fade to black. Like,
And what's really upsetting about that is like Vivi was always like thinking about like how good Reese is in bed. And then we don't
so
even get to read
good
about it.
that you can't even come up with like a teeny tiny bit of detail to explain it to me so I can visualize that for myself.
He seems very vanilla in bed.
So bad that you couldn't even describe him like going down on her because like he's probably never like most men just don't do that. Like she's probably never had that in her life, so she couldn't even begin to describe it.
She's like, I can't even imagine how wonderful that would be. I am not interested in Reese, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm not into it.
I'm sorry,
He kind of sucked.
I'm literally wheezing. I feel like we're tearing this book to shreds.
I'm sorry. It's not that it was bad. It's just like she did all of the things that I hate the most in the book.
It's not that it's bad. It's just that it's really not very good at all.
Like I want to be like so fucking for real about this right now. Like these are my opinions, and it's
Yeah.
like I do not want to dissuade anyone from reading this book. It was like a very cute, mindless read, and if that is what you will want, it would be a great option for you. If you want something that's like not super smutty, but you still want like a good rom-com, it is a fantastic book for that.
Yes, because it really is like it's funny, it's cute, it's vibey for the season.
Yeah.
It's just not substantial, and that's okay.
Because like yes, like I would consider this to be just like a cozy rom-com.
Yeah.
This was a cozy Halloween book.
Yeah, 100%.
Where not a lot happened, but it was okay.
Yeah.
It was good.
And I think it's really good, especially because some people really like Halloween season, but they truly hate anything that's actually scary. And so
this was not
scary. It's not scary at all. And so if you are like someone who hates being scared, then this is like the perfect book for you if you still like Halloween.
Yeah, in conclusion, don't let my poor attitude affect your book choices.
Well, you all know by now what our tastes are, and obviously everyone has different tastes. So people love this book, and
unfortunately it was not borderline abuse, so like I wasn't interested.
Yeah. Anyways, we actually have a couple discussion questions about this book. First question. If you actually had powers, if you were a witch, would you curse an ex? And like, what would they have to do? What would they have to do to get you to nothing? Just break up with you?
I'm just like a petty bitch.
Yeah. Okay. No, I love
You
that.
know, like
What
suck.
kind
But
of curse would you do? Like, what would be the thing
I
first?
don't know. Probably nothing like that would affect their like maybe just like physically. Well, I don't even want to say that, but like nothing bad, nothing that I would like potentially like go to prison for, but like if it were ever somehow traced back to me, but
Well,
um
like one of the things that they tried to curse Reese with was that his hair could never like do the thing. And I'm assuming by that they mean like it falls into place perfectly. And
like he's got like a suave coif, like
yeah, they're like, we curse him to his hair will never do the thing. And then they cursed him that he'd never be able to find a clit again, which,
that's just like so cruel to other women. Like
yeah,
that was like a crime against women. It wasn't even
they
like a crime
they
against him.
actually acknowledged that at one point. They're like, thank God that didn't work because that's actually very anti-woman of us.
Yeah, like that's like not girl power of you.
Yeah. No, I think
Um,
like you could maybe it'd be kind of fun to like curse them to always wake up 5 minutes later than they wanted to.
yeah, or like they're just never going to be able to spell definitely correctly. Like
Defiantly.
yeah, like there's just gonna like they're just never going to fully be able to spell that right.
Yeah. That and also
They're gonna forget like their anniversary every year for the rest of their life to who I'm like whatever unlucky person marries them.
oh man, that one's kind of evil. I love that.
Yeah, like something silly like that, I'd say.
Yeah. I would totally do that too.
Yeah.
And yeah, they wouldn't have to do much to piss me off. I agree. I'm
Or it's
also
like their
petty.
sock like just slides down in their shoe like constantly.
Oh, that one's good. That one's really
Yeah.
good.
Like nothing that's gonna like physically harm them. Just
Yeah,
like a mild inconvenience.
for sure, for sure. Agreed.
Um, do you think you'd be able to tell if there was a whole witchcraft department at your college?
Okay, I think I'd be able to tell because this was so wild to me.
I'm nosy as fuck.
They were like, "Oh, a student will like sometimes like stumble in here by mistake." And like, what? Do they not tell anyone? Or are
Like,
y'all like men in blacking them and like wiping their memories?
or is this like a broom closet type situation where it's like actually like a storage closet, but like when you walk in, it's like a whole fucking different part of the college? Like, how are you hiding buildings from here? Like,
All they said is that there's like some kind of deterrent spell that makes them not want to walk in there. And but I'm like, people do sometimes walk in there though. So like when they see that they're walking into a witchcraft class, why
it's
do they
like,
not tell other people?
as someone who has walked into the wrong classroom more than 10 times in
Oh
my
yeah.
college career, like, I would stumble upon that. It doesn't matter if my body's like, this isn't right. I'd be like, no, it's probably right.
Yeah, I get lost every single day. Like I 100% would accidentally walk in there. And well, that's the thing too, is like it might not even be an accident. Like, what if I am like, I just want to kind of explore, like look for a good little study spot. Like, of course I'm gonna try.
I'll open any door that's not locked to me.
Of course I'm gonna try the Hogwarts ass looking buildings. Like that
It's probably
sounds
like
cool.
a super like fucking embellished door and stuff. It's like, don't go in here.
And then like you can literally hear on the other side of the door that
Like
that
casting
choir
spells.
is like something wicked this
Double,
way comes. Yeah, I would absolutely be in there every single day and I'd be like, ooh, I love this little study nook. And they would be like, this bitch again.
like, how do you keep getting in here?
I'd be like, hey
We've moved
guys,
6 times.
hey guys, I love your robes. Like super cute for the Halloween season. Love that you're so festive.
Hey guys, it is December, but I love that you're keeping the spirit alive.
Is this like a secret society or how do I join?
Join?
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be in a cult.
Yeah, and they have in the library, they have a fucking witchcraft section. It's all one library.
I know, it's like, I'm absolutely going to be reading that.
I just don't understand it. Anyway.
That wraps up the Ex Hex for this week. Join us next week, we are going to be discussing monster romances. I'm so excited.
I'm genuinely excited. I'm doing a lot of research for you
I am
guys.
too. I am about to bust out some of just the most monstrous, disgusting monster romances you've ever seen in your life.
The smuttiest, monsteriest romances in the world. The week after, we are going to discuss The Kiss Curse by Rachel Hawkins, which is the second book, of course, we talked about, and it focuses on Gwen and Wells.
Somehow.
So hopefully we get to like them a little bit more. But go ahead and get started on that. We'll talk to you next time. And as always,
Let's get lit.